A young boy who loves magic finally managed to enter the magic school. However, he doesn't even know a single spell while kids younger than him are already casting spells. Yet he enters his mana zone so that the teachers can ask him questions like the furthest number he can see. This number represents the range of his zone. The last kid before him saw the number 6, meaning the diameter of his zone is 6 meters. But when the teachers ask our main character, he looks hesitant to answer. Not because he can't enter his mana zone or he can't see a number, but because what he sees is impossible. He sees a number so large that he can't even read it. He sees all the numbers of pi. So another manhwa and another talented main character. But what's really interesting in this manhwa isn't that just he's talented, it's how he's talented. Because unlike most manhwas where magic is inherited or practiced or even completely dependent on raw talent, Infinite Mage does something different that really piqued my interest. It treats magic like science, something that can be studied and even calculated. But to fully understand how Infinite Mage built this unique magic system, we have to go back to the very beginning. A commoner couple decide to raise a baby they found in their barn. This baby is our main character, Chiron Aryan. He grows up to be a very kind-hearted kid who is fascinated by the concept of magic. One day he goes to the city with his dad, and his dad leaves him at a relative's shop for a couple of hours. Chiron then asks to learn about magic, and the old guy directs him to a bookstore. Chiron rushes to the store to get his hands on the book, but the store owner doesn't allow him because a commoner like him is too poor to even touch these books. So we instantly learn about the classist word of this manhwa and the first obstacle in front of our main character. He wants to learn how to use magic, but he's a lowly commoner and only noble kids are allowed to study magic. The manhwa never gives any proper reason as to why nobles are gatekeeping magic, but looking back on it, it's typical of nobles. Back to our MC, he hears a voice coming from behind a wall. The mysterious voice speaks about the basics and the fundamentals of magic. He talks about talent, wisdom, insight, laws, and some basic math. We learn that the voice is talking to a bunch of noble kids who just started learning about magic, so it's a clever way of introducing this magic system to us readers. But then suddenly the voice directly talks to Chiron, who's eavesdropping behind the wall. That's when our MC decides to climb the wall and meet the mysterious voice. All the noble kids are shocked by the ugly side they're seeing. They yell at him, "You shouldn't be here, you lowly peasant, you can't learn magic." But the old guy says it's fine. Chiron politely asks to see magic, to understand it even, and after seeing it for himself, he gets determined to learn magic. And from the beginning, he tries pulling apart this concept and immediately starts asking questions regarding this feeling. Then we see one of the kids enter their spirit zone. A spirit zone is a range where the mage can influence their surroundings and basically use magic in that area. Chiron attempts to enter his spirit zone, and he almost does it, but then after meeting the female lead and learning more about this harsh word, he finally pulls it off. He uses magic for the first time. That moment changes Chiron's reality. He proved to himself that magic isn't just for nobles, and a commoner like him can use it. And Chiron's dream turned into his goal, and to achieve it, he needs to enter a magic school. But how can a commoner even step foot in such a noble place? 3 years pass and we see an older Chiron. He spends his days meditating in forest, refining his mana zone, deepening his understanding of the world around him, the shift of greenery, the squirming of worms beneath the soil, the faint vibration of trees absorbing water. It's not magic yet, but it's something close. Then one day, an opportunity finds him. When he goes back home, he sees a stranger. The stranger offers him a job. He has to work in a noble's library and sort out all the books because they're going to transfer them. And there are so many books that it takes roughly 2 years to categorize and transfer all of them. So while reading books is too boring for my rotten brain, this arc is really important to Chiron's development because this library is a goldmine of knowledge. Over 2 years, he reads all the books. He reads about magic, history, philosophy, and step by step, he gains a vast knowledge about this world. But books aren't the only thing he finds in his library. He befriends the son and the daughter of the noble family, and the son swears an oath to be his knight. Now his family has to adopt and support Chiron, even though adopting a commoner is a disgrace to them, but there's no turning back now. So now that the 17-year-old Chiron has the backing of a noble family, he can finally enter the magic school, but he's a little too old to learn about magic. All the other noble kids started studying since their childhood. He sees children that are way younger doing magic stuff. Even during his first examination, other students who are taking the same test are way younger than him. Seeing other kids doesn't affect Chiron's motivation in learning magic, but how can he compete with other students? Well, that's the interesting part about the magic system in this manhwa. Ever since Chiron was a kid, he was curious about the world. When he first saw magic, he didn't just stop at admiring it. He tried to dissect it and understand it. He kept asking questions to fully grasp the idea. And that's his strongest quality, because by doing so, it makes him understand the true nature of magic in this world, which is science. The manhwa uses popular scientific theories and mixes them with well-known fantasy powers to build its magic system. So to cast a spell, a mage has to first visualize the spell in their mind, then they have to mentally construct a mathematical or logical formula for the spell, then comes the mana infusion. And the more optimized the spell's formula, the more powerful the magic becomes. And this manhwa is all about understanding the cause and effect, something that Shiron is really good at. Rather than mindlessly following the traditional teachings, he thinks magic from a logical and scientific perspective. So a simple example that the manhwa gives us from the very first chapter is that we know that 2 + 2 = 4, but how we can logically prove it is another story. And we don't really need to prove something like that because it's just a fact, but that's exactly how Shiron approaches magic. He doesn't stop at learning the effect, he pulls apart the idea to discover the cause, and he logically thinks about the kind of magic he wants to use, and that's how he'll compete with other students. But this magic system isn't the only reason why I read this manhwa. For starters, it's a refreshing feeling to read a pure fantasy manhwa rather than a regression or reincarnation. Shiron has his cool moments, but he's not really my favorite type of main character. But this manhwa definitely has my favorite type of side characters. Absolute dummy mommies. But on a more serious note, just look at their design. The art style speaks for itself. And speaking of beautiful sides, the manhwa has detailed backgrounds that really help with its world building. I also really like the friendship between these three. And overall, I really like most of the side characters in this manhwa. But the best thing about this manhwa is that it has a character so well developed and well designed that even with only 1 chapter of appearance, it changed the entire story. And coincidentally, this character has the same name as me. Hello, I'm Armin. And there you have it, another manhwa that kept me entertained. While it might not be the best storytelling I've come across, it's packed with interesting ideas that make it a unique read. And we haven't really seen that many fights in the story, but the ones we have were all well done. And it might not be a stretch to call this manhwa's art style one of my favorites, because some panels look like this and some others look like... I've also heard good things about the novel of this series, so there's a good chance that I might check it out later for myself. So if you're looking for something fresh, something that's not regression or reincarnation, but a pure fantasy with a unique twist on its magic system, I definitely recommend Infinite Mage. And honestly, after reading this one, I'm already on the lookout for more manhwas like it, and I might check out Academy's Uncommon Professor. But thank you so much for watching my video, I hope you enjoyed it. If there's any manhwas you'd like to see a video of, please recommend it to me down in the comments. But who knows, maybe the manhwa you like is already in my list of upcoming videos, so stay tuned. But again, thank you so much for watching my video, I really appreciate it. And as always, see you in the next one.